After rewatching The Last of Us, sifting through countless interviews with Craig Mazin, and reading The Anatomy of Genres by John Truby, one question kept haunting me. What genre is The Last of Us? We're in the era of multi-genre films, shows, and games. As with many modern works, The Last of Us defies easy categorization. The show undeniably incorporates a multitude of genres and subgenres, yet its approach feels less like a seamless blend and more like a deliberate hierarchy layered on top of one another that we unravel episode to episode. The show begins with the spread of the infection. 20 years later, we step into the lives of those navigating the desolation left in the wake of a pandemic. This positions the show firmly within the post-apocalypse subgenre at the top, a branch of science fiction. Science fiction is a genre that explores the individual's relationship with society. According to John Truby, science fiction tells us how to create a better society right now. It does so primarily by showing us the dystopian world we will create if we continue to make the wrong choices. The show opens with a chilling warning, a glimpse of the world in 1968, where an epidemiologist foresees the catastrophic consequences of humanity's hubris.
Ergot, cordyceps, aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control not of millions of us, but billions of us.
20 years later, we witness the dystopia born of all the wrong choices we made as a society. A layer below science fiction, the story fits neatly in the horror genre. The infection stems from a cordyceps fungus that evolved enough to infect humans because of global warming, transforming its hosts into mindless, zombie-like creatures driven only by an insatiable need to spread the infection. Zombies are a staple of the horror genre because it's a walking, sometimes a running, reminder of death. Horror, as Truby writes, forces us to confront death. In horror, the victim runs from a monster and away from the sins that have not been atoned for. In a deeper sense, the victim tries to escape death itself. This theme is unmistakable in the show's most harrowing moments. And finally, in Sam's tragic fate. His loss of humanity becomes synonymous with death. When Henry kills Sam in a moment of panic, torn between saving his brother and fearing for his own life, he's plunged into despair. In his anguish, Henry takes his own life, a haunting cautionary tale for Joel and Ellie. Beneath it all lies a core element of a genre that fuels every action in the story. The reason why Henry betrayed his group.
If I wanted some, I was gonna take something big.
He's just a fucking kid!
Well, kids die, Henry. They die all the time.
Why Riley planned this night. Why Ellie risked her life. And the reason why Joel killed all those people.
So a lot of The Last of Us is about love, but we present love in both of its strong passions. There's this positive love outwards, and then there's this preservative love that goes inwards.
The Last of Us is a story about love in all of its forms. Romantic, paternal, brotherly, and the love for humanity.
He thinks it could be a cure, Joel. A cure.
And as Mason says, we are capable of doing the ugliest things for love. But love is also behind the most beautiful things we do. Episode titled Long, Long Time encapsulates this theme more than any other.
Maybe the least fillery thing we did across this entire season was the Bill and Frank story, because it is the like I said, the skeleton key for everything that happens.
The structure of the show itself reveals the deepening layer of the show's themes with each episode. Every episode has elements of multiple genres, but the first 3 episodes capture what the show is truly about. The first episode introduces the top genre layer, post-apocalypse dystopian, a branch of science fiction. It's the setting of the story. It shows how society has evolved in the last 20 years. The second episode focuses on the second genre layer, horror. Characters are forced to confront death up close, their own mortality, and their loved ones. The third episode reveals the story's true genre, love. Unlike other genres, love doesn't tell us what being is like every day by virtue of being alive. It tells us what being is like when we live our lives to the fullest. It is the precondition of being well. This episode is a beautiful love story between Bill and Frank, tracing their life together from their first meeting to their final moments. Despite the horrors around them, they find each other, build a life together, and experience a happiness they never had, even before the world crumbled, before the government became the Nazis.
The government are all Nazis!
Well, yeah, now, but not then.
The show isn't merely about humanity's quest for a cure, or the fight to save the world.
Cordyceps grows inside the brain.
This has been debated endlessly. Did Joel doom humanity's last hope for salvation?
It's a dilemma, and the point of a dilemma is it ain't easy, and there isn't one right answer.
The show is not interested in the grand ambition of survival of the human species. It has always been interested in exploring the relationship between love and violence. How far are we willing to go to protect the ones we love? If the world is willing to sacrifice an innocent kid for the faintest hope of its salvation,
We didn't tell her, we didn't cause her any fear, there won't be any pain.
No, you take me to her. You take me to her right now!
is that world still worth saving?
As flawed human beings, this is one of the prices we pay for loving people. Loving people tends to trump simple morality.
This version of dystopia is only depicted as a dystopia for human civilization, but for nature, it's the same as nature has always been, terrifying, yet beautiful. The infection isn't the plague, it's the cure. A cure for the plague of what humanity has become. Cordyceps don't think, don't desire, they simply are. Their existence is both terrifying and strangely beautiful. Henry and Sam's story is a warning, and Bill and Frank's story is a guide. It's a reminder to Joel, Ellie, and to us that the greatest tragedy isn't the infection or the apocalypse, it's the loss of empathy. Bill, just like Joel, is tailor-made for this broken world, a man built to endure. But the show reminds us that mere survival is never enough for the human spirit. So Frank shows Bill what it means to live a life of purpose, a life beyond survival.
This isn't the tragic suicide at the end of the play. I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose.
I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong, because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do. And God help any motherfuckers who stand in our way.
This is who the title of the story is referring to. The last of us who will pay attention to the little things. Bill paid attention to Frank when he needed food, and Frank paid attention to Bill when he needed love. Ellie paid attention to Joel when he needed to heal, and Joel paid attention to Ellie when she needed a father.
So time heals all wounds, I guess.
It wasn't time that did it.
Why is paying attention so important?
Paying attention to things. It's how we show love.
So be sure to pay attention to the little things around this holiday season. Merry Christmas, and see you next year.